Africa's visa gateways have officially changed across the board. Today, I need to tell you about four core countries that should really be the only countries you're even considering on the continent of Africa because there is so much happening. And we have happened to live in two of these countries in our last 6 years of living on the continent of Africa permanently, as in not hopping back and forth, not going back, actually having residency, actually investing, actually doing business, and incorporating our businesses in Africa. So let's get to it.
Remember, just at the beginning of this month, June, the U.S., they closed more than 30 embassies on the continent, right? I'll say 30 embassies. So this information, as we keep telling you guys, is very important to know, because when you are traveling, you will need a U.S. embassy if anything goes wrong, if you need to report birth abroad, if you need to renew your passport, if you need to just say if you lose your passport and you need to get a new one. This is very important to know. But in this video, we're just going to break down these four countries that we truly believe that you can be sustainable in long term, when it comes down to cost of living, when it comes down to residency, when it comes down to infrastructure, I guess I can say, in some of these countries, when it comes down to a lot of things to be sustainable long term.
Exactly. And you want to stay to the middle or at least the end of this video because we are also going to read off the list of really the only 20 U.S. embassies in Africa right now. The first two countries that we're going to tell you about are Rwanda and Mauritius, and they're for good reason. Rwanda is known to be the cleanest in Africa. It's supposed to be the new Singapore of Africa. They have a huge tech hub. Their infrastructure is up to par, okay? They are also on the anti-corruption list. Like, they are doing things that really the rest of the continent should be looking at. And then Mauritius, on the other hand, visa-free for Americans. They have a premium visa, a golden visa. They have real estate visas. They have self-employed entrepreneur investor visas, innovative permits if you are in medical, biology, biotech, AI infrastructure, marketing, any creative service, any consulting services. That's one of the best ones. And then when you look at both of them, Rwanda and Mauritius, both have 5 to 10-year permits. So Rwanda, 5-year investor permit, Mauritius, 10-year investor permit. They could expand it to 20 years. So these are really your safe havens, the only two safe havens on the continent that can give you that longevity. And then the other two countries we will discuss later in the video. Now, Rwanda, as I said, they're the cleanest in Africa. We know people who have moved to Rwanda or have been in Rwanda for a certain amount of time and decided to move to Mauritius. But Rwanda is one of those countries that is really climbing up there on the list, especially because remember the tough time they had in the 90s. I mean, Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, has really been able to turn things around. And the Rwandan people, I mean, it's a beautiful story. There isn't any tribalism because they want to keep it safe in the country. Tribalism supports and promotes that individuality, and it causes violence and chaos for Rwanda. So they're the type of place where it's very calm and peaceful because they want to see themselves as a unified people, and that is reflected also in their immigration process and some of their investments and some of the cafes out there and some of the feelings people have while they're in Rwanda.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you have to think about residencies now. So when we're talking about these countries, always think about the residency process. Always think about how, like my wife was just saying, 5 years, 10 years. We don't want to have year to year, 2 years, and you still have to pay a lot of money, right? So Rwanda is one of these places where a lot of our clients choose to go. And I say just because the infrastructure, the real estate is awesome there. So if you wanted to do some investing, look into Rwanda. The land is fertile. The land is a little bit cheaper than some countries. And you can get land as a foreigner. And it's freehold. So that's something to think about. It's not leasehold where you have to lease it for 50 years or 99 years, which still is good. But the cost of the land there is great. The mountains, the scenery, and it's super clean. It's super clean. So Rwanda is something that a lot of people is considering now.
Absolutely. And then we have to hop over to Mauritius. But before we do that, I realize we're 5 minutes, 10 seconds into this video, and I've not told you to go to www.journeywithusmovetoafrica.com/services, because you should read the 7 to 10 page enrollment guide for the mature adult intensive. Now, what is a mature adult? Here are the values of mature adults. They are people that have thinking that is high caliber. They do not want to go to the cheapest countries. They want to go to the most stable countries in Africa. They have businesses. They have a skill set that is elite, high caliber. And then some of them are retirees. Some of them are expats that are in their 30s. Some of them are building families and legacies where they're like, hey, where can I have a trust for my family? Where can I pass down wealth to my family legally in Africa? These are the questions that they ask, and this is why we have cohort 10 of the mature adult intensive. Now, you were just talking about how our clients in cohort 9 have been discussing their routes to get to the continent. Like, they are one of the fastest cohorts that we have ever had that is coming to the continent of Africa, because they see the writing on the wall and they have been equipped with the right resources in our curriculum guide and in the 4-week intensive coaching sessions every single week, that gives them the confidence, the power, and the infrastructure to finally live out their Exodus dream life in Africa. Go to www.journeywithusmovetoafrica.com/services, read the enrollment guide, check it out, see if it's right for you.
No, that's good. And I want to say one main thing that I noticed throughout the cohorts that we have. This is cohort 10, guys, so all praises for that. But it's about the like-minded people, the conversations that we have. Because when you are thinking about moving from your home country, your peers, your friends, your family is not going to understand it. So it is important to have these conversations with people that is on the same mindset with you. You get what I'm saying? So that's something that's very, very important that people have to understand. You are not alone in this journey of moving from America, from your home country. We have a community for you, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I always notice throughout these cohorts. They really appreciate the conversations that they can feel connected with. You get what I'm saying? Because you can't tell everybody, and then they like, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Some people just not gonna get it, but most of the people that we talk to, they really understand why they are doing this. We understand why they're doing it, and yeah, that's very important.
Absolutely. Now let's hop back on the plane and fly from Rwanda over to Mauritius, shall we? In Mauritius, as we were saying, you have visa-free access as an American on arrival. If you are an American and you don't hold lots of other passports, you're not a security risk, you're just a natural, regular American person, a Canadian, somebody from the United Kingdom, I think Germans, even like countries like Thailand, China. I mean, most countries actually have visa-free access to Mauritius, to be honest with you. It's not just America, because Mauritius has an immigration policy that is very beautiful and very rare in Africa and the entire world, as in, I've looked all over the world and have not found policies quite like this, although there are some that come close to it. So you can hop on the plane, hop off the plane, come to Mauritius, give your passport, give your Mauritius travel form, give your Airbnb reservation or hotel, and then they're going to be quite happy to see you. They're going to say, welcome in, enjoy your vacation. Okay, that's what they're going to say. This is what they said to us. This is what they say to some of our acquaintances that have been coming in huge numbers to the island. Now, not only that, but Mauritius also has something else you should know about. You can switch your tourist visa to a premium visa, to the new golden digital nomad visa that is TBA, to be announced, to replace the premium visa that's going to actually give you 2 years right off the bat renewable. Y'all might want to watch the channel, check on that, go to the Mauritius Economic Development Bank. Not only that, but if you look at these houses, let me just put it like this. When I lived in Tanzania, I absolutely used to love looking at the houses in Mauritius. You could go to LexPress, you could go to Property Cloud, put in your filters, the rates you want to pay, and don't let nobody tell you it's expensive here. Expensive to who? For what? Right? Like, find your filter, find your budget, and then you're going to find your house, because it is 60% lower cost of living than America, than Canada, than Norway, than all of big Western countries, all right? Now, not only that, but Mauritius has their residency schemes. They are number one, not number two, not number three, not number 50 for doing business in Africa. And we have been here for 3 years, so it's just a really good vibe. We have had a child here. We have been all up and down the island. We've experienced basically nearly everything that you can experience in Mauritius, from healthcare to going to different hospitals to dealing with immigration, talking to customs, meeting different drivers, meeting different people who previously used to be in government. There's just a lot that we have experienced and very well good connections that we have here on the island. So you may want to check it out for that reason. And anti-corruption, and it's pretty clean. Some say it's cleaner than Rwanda.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it gets better and better, I'll tell you that. So every time we think that we found our dream home or something, we go see another one. It's like, wow, this is better and better. So we do appreciate that about Mauritius. Fully furnished, everything. The infrastructure here is excellent too. And when we say infrastructure, we mean the roads, we mean the buildings, we mean the electricity, the water and stuff is constant and really clean. You get what I'm saying? So that's something to really consider when you're thinking about moving and like traveling, I guess, because we hear people a lot of times go to countries and they just don't have a good experience just because electricity goes out every day. And it's like, man, you can't even charge your phones and do what you have to do to enjoy, to take pictures, to take videos, to, you know, call people back home and let them know how everything is, just because the infrastructure is not there. So these two countries, Rwanda and Mauritius, the infrastructure is super good. So consider that.
Yeah, this is why they had to be the top two. Now let's move on to the bottom two countries, okay? If you want more on Mauritius, visit the Mauritius Africa playlist by Journey with Us. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to members only, because we've done property tours. We've done all sorts of things behind the scenes, 100 plus videos. Check it out, $10 a month. Now let's fly from Mauritius to Kenya, why don't we? Nairobi, Kenya, Mombasa, Kenya, Diani, Kenya. Listen, we used to live in a city called Tanga, Tanzania, which is like a border town right by Kenya. So we have hired Kenyans in our companies. We have had Kenyans in our network. And let me say, they are some of the most amazing people on the continent, very hardworking people. Kenya is that new place that the diaspora is looking at. And it's for a good reason, because they have a 5-year multiple entry permit. Not only that, meaning you have to leave every 6 months, but that's like a little better than Tanzania, which we'll get to in a moment. But they also have a digital nomad visa. Like, pause, nobody talks about it. Not sure why. Maybe people don't understand the paperwork behind it. But as people who have acquired a digital nomad visa in Africa and renewed it multiple times, I'm here to tell you, although it's paperwork heavy and you have to have bank statements, your business together in the States, your proper incorporations, once you have those things, which again is why we have the mature adult intensive, because your flight to Africa is not the beginning of your relocation. What you do in America is the beginning of your relocation. The paperwork that you have, the paperwork that you don't have, the health care that you have, the digital nomad healthcare insurance, which you should have, safety wing is one of them. You need to have those things intact. Again, go to the mature adult intensive, link in the description. Banks as well. You need certain banks in America to function in Africa. But Kenya is that place because they do have that digital nomad visa. Now you want to get a FBI clearance or a police report before getting it. That is not necessary right now for the Mauritius digital nomad visa. Be aware of that. These are some of the discrepancies and changes across the continent, but if you're in the States, you can totally get that very easily. It should be at your post office or downtown in your city. Grab it real quick, fill it in online, head to Kenya, get your 1 year. Now the application fee for theirs, or the renewal application, $200, then renewal is $1,000, okay? The one in Mauritius is completely free. That's your business. Go wherever you'd like to go on the continent, okay? Now, Kenya has the culture, the vibes. They have beautiful houses as well. They're not as affordable as Mauritius when it comes to quality. Here's what I'm talking about. You can find very affordable houses in Kenya, affordable apartments, but the quality will not be that of like a Thailand or a Vietnam. Mauritius kind of replicates that Asian way of life where it's like they give you super high quality for a lower cost or for a good cost that's reasonable to the market. That's one reason we chose Mauritius instead of Kenya, but Kenya is still a very close number 2 because it has the culture, it has the feelings, it has that connection that you would really want. But then when you're ready to just invest, have 10-year, 20-year, that's when you may go to somewhere like Mauritius. Now, our next and last country we have actually lived in for the same amount of time, basically almost, that we have lived in Mauritius, and that is Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. All the countries that we have listed today still have U.S. embassies open. That's key. Remember that from what we said in the beginning of this video, because if you don't have a U.S. embassy in your country, you lose your passport, your mom, your sister, your kids lose their passport, you are out of luck. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if anybody had a consolation and they were like, I don't need a U.S. embassy, if you lose your passport, the U.S. embassy is the only functioning body that can reissue that for you. So if there's no U.S. embassy in your country, you can't renew that passport. I'm not sure what you would do. You're just trapped. You're just stuck. Okay. Now, Tanzania, beautiful country. Dar es Salaam, Tonga. We've been all up and down Tanzania, the Swahili coast, Kilwa, Kisiwani, when she used to have the slaves. We've looked at the ancient ruins. Tanzania is one of the best places to go when you're a beginner to Africa because they have multiple entry visa. So if you just want the vibes, you want the feels, you want the vacation, you want the let me just do a quick 90 days, or I'll just spend a year here and do some visa hopping to see what I like. But some of the previous countries like Rwanda and Mauritius are better long term. Tanzania, though, has Kilimanjaro. They have Magoroto, which people don't even know about. You should know about Magoroto. It's up in Tonga. It's a mountainous region. Used to love going up there. So beautiful. Excellent for vacation. But again, this is your place you go to visit. You know, check out Dar es Salaam, check out Kilwa Kisiwani, check out all those things. Very welcoming people. Everybody speaks Swahili. You could pick up an authentic African language like Swahili along the way and have a good time. But that multiple entry visa is only for Americans. I do want to make that clear. So 90 days you have to leave. Come back in, 90 days you have to leave. Come back in. Now, a lot of our clients, they may stay in Tanzania for a time, but then they go places like a Botswana or Mauritius. But there's going to be a decrease in people going to Botswana because they no longer have the U.S. embassy there, although they are still visa-free for Americans, okay?
That's difficult. That would make no sense. But I do want to say this about Kenya and Tanzania. You got to think about the port access.
Yeah.
When it comes to trading, we know the times that we are in, trading is big. You know, I believe they're doing like a oil refinery in Tanzania too, in Tonga.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe in Kenya, Mombasa. So there's going to be a lot of trading. So when even if you're thinking about moving to these countries, Kenya or Tanzania, just always think about the ease where the port is, where you can get the resources, where you can get, you know, the products and things that you need. That's very important. Cheaper. And I'm more talking about on a sustainable moving point, not like visiting.
That's true.
Visiting is okay, but when you think about long term, think about places where there's a port. That's something truly happening, and you really need to know that's important. That's important. Like we are in times of war and chaos. So if you're thinking about moving, always really think long term.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that, because Kenya and Tanzania, when you're thinking about investing, they will both give you 1 to 2 years as an investor, and you have to put up $100,000, $50,000, whatever the cost may be. But again, Rwanda and Mauritius, 5 to 10 years, okay? And you don't have to put up 100,000 for sure, unless you just want to, or unless you just don't know what is available. But I encourage you to go to the Kenya immigration portal, Tanzania's immigration portal, Rwanda's immigration portal, Mauritius's immigration portal. These are your final guidelines. Don't watch YouTube and be confused. You spend 30,000 hours watching YouTube University, listening to all the folks, and you are spinning out of control. You're confused. You're like, I don't know where to go. I hear about this country. I hear about that country. I hear about West, South. I hear about everything happening. Make it easy and go to those immigration sites. What you see on there is the reality of what it is. Don't let any influencers tell you it's anything otherwise. If they say it's going to be 200K, it's going to be 200K. If they say a premium visa is free, it's going to be free. If they say a retirement permit is 10 years at $1,500 or $2,000 per month in your pension, that is your final guideline, the end. Now, we did promise that we would read the only 20 hubs that remain open at the end of this video. And so here they are for all visa processing. So citizens in these countries can process their visas still and go to America, although they need that $15,000 bond for most of these countries. Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Accra, Ghana. Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, by the way, has a great 10-year golden visa as well. They just launched. Watch out for their immigration portal. You should just why are you not in the mature adult intensive? Why are you not subscribed as a member on this channel? Because I mean, we have all eyes on the continent and all the best visas that people and governments are launching, okay? Cape Town, South Africa. Dakar, Senegal. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Djibouti. Johannesburg, South Africa. Kampala, Uganda. Kigali, Rwanda. Kinshasa, Congo. Luanda, Angola. Lome, Togo. Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. Monrovia, Liberia, shout out to them, never been colonized. Nairobi, Kenya. Port Louis, Mauritius. Praia, Cape Verde. And Yaoundé, Cameroon. So these are your only visa gateways in Africa. Let me know which one that you are going to go to down below, and let me know which ones you're shocked did not make the list.
Shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom.